everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is Thursday and we're all here for it. So, hello, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Daniel, I'll be your host, your guy in a chair.
Guy in a chair.
He said it!
And for today's Thursday, I think we're going to be watching the Critical Jerkers review of Avatar: The Way of Water. So, enjoy.
Always going to be an interesting one to review. Avatar 2 is a movie saddled with a metric ton of expectations, not just because it's a long-awaited sequel to literally the biggest movie of all time, but because it's also one of the only big releases this year that doesn't revolve around dinosaurs or people dressed in capes and spandex. So what exactly is the deal, dear viewer? Was Avatar 2 worth the 13-year wait, or is it just a bloated vanity project by an aging filmmaker whose ego now outstrips his abilities? Well, weirdly, the answer is both yes and no. The best way I can put this is that Avatar 2 represents both the best and worst tendencies of James Cameron as a filmmaker. On the one hand, it's visually spectacular, delivering majestic shots of alien worlds that outstrip even those of the original movie. It's got some excellent action sequences that perfectly merge CGI with practical effects to deliver fantastic scenes of explosive destruction and violence. And it's all built around a refreshingly traditional central storyline about the importance of family, loyalty, trust, and sacrifice. But then on the other hand, it suffers from a bloated and indulgent screenplay that drags on for at least an hour longer than it needs to. An extensive cast of mostly forgettable and superfluous characters with simplistic personalities and very little in the way of recognizable arcs. Terrible dialogue that reminds me of the very worst aspects of Rings of Power.
Rocks are sinky because they look downwards to darkness. Boats float because they look up at shiny sky. Do you get it?
And a heavy-handed environmental message that comes across as cheap, forced, and weirdly dated when you see it in context. In short, Avatar 2 is both a good and bad movie depending on how you choose to view it. And I suspect I'm going to get shit from both sides of the aisle on this one, but what the hell, let's give it a try anyway. So the breezy opening montage of this film outlines the events of the past decade or so. Following the defeat of the humans in the previous movie, Jake Sully becomes the new leader of the Na'vi tribe and settles down to start a family with Neytiri. Before you know it, they've got 2 sons, a daughter, an adopted daughter, an adopted human son named Spider, and a partridge in a fucking pear tree. Oh yeah, and Spider just so happens to be the son of Colonel Quaritch from the first film. Wow, we really kept that one quiet, didn't he? Oh, Miles, you sly dog, you. It's almost like the guy was totally retconned in after the fact. But don't worry, we'll talk more about Spider soon enough. Believe that! Anyway, all is well and peaceful and idyllic in Jake's world until one day the humans return in force and establish a new city for themselves. And I love how everyone's completely shocked by this event. I mean, really, did you think they were just going to give up one of the most valuable planets in the universe just because they suffered one temporary setback? Anyway, the humans aren't here just to mine Pandora for resources this time around. Now they want to colonize the whole planet and make it their new home because apparently Earth is dying due to pollution or overpopulation or something. How exactly do they plan to colonize an alien planet where they can't even breathe the air without dying? Don't know. And the humans aren't the only thing that's back either. Remember Colonel Quidditch from the first film? Remember how he totally died when Neytiri turned him into a human pincushion? Well, he's back, in Na'vi form. Yeah, apparently before his final mission, he took the precaution of downloading all his memories and personality onto a computer, which then got uploaded into a new avatar body that was conveniently being grown for him. Well, that was lucky. It's also lucky they apparently did all this stuff off screen, because it's not like Cameron would retcon all of this stuff in after the fact just to bring back a popular antagonist or anything.
I think I can smell shite.
Anyway, whatever. The upshot is that Blue Man Quidditch and the rest of his squad are sent out to assassinate Jake and his family, and although they fail in the attempt, they're able to capture Spider and take him prisoner. Knowing that he might eventually lead Quidditch and the others back to the Na'vi, Jake and the others make the decision to run away and seek refuge with the water people on the other side of the planets. I mean, if I was Quidditch, I'd probably go there anyway, take the whole tribe prisoner, and start interrogating people until someone told me where Jake went, but maybe that's just me. Either way, this all leads into what I like to call the family drama section of the movie. And you'd better strap in for this one because it's at least 90 minutes of sheer fucking inertia. I can't emphasize enough how boring this entire section is. It's literally a cheap, predictable teen drama ported into a sci-fi setting with nice visuals. Jake and his family have to move to a new neighborhood where his kids struggle to make friends, get into fights with local bullies, and have to prove themselves to find a place in the group. The weird, socially awkward daughter finally finds her calling in life, and one of his sons even starts a mixed-race relationship with a local girl. It's the kind of trite, cliched stuff that we've all seen a million times before, and the fact that it's all happening between blue alien Smurf people, and that the film takes itself so completely seriously, makes the whole thing unintentionally hilarious. Anyway, after about 3 fucking ice ages, the script remembers that there's supposed to be other stuff going on, so Quidditch and his diabolical mates show up, kill a bunch of giant sea turtle whale things to make the Na'vi angry, and then there's a big shootout on a big flying boat thing, and most of the bad guys die, and Jake and the others live happily ever after. Breaking Avatar 2 down is kind of a tough one because it seems like everything that counts in its favour also ends up working against it in the end. Like I said earlier, it's a visual masterpiece that's gorgeous to look at, and you can tell that a lot of love and care went into crafting the world of Pandora, from the trees and the landscapes to the vibrant ecosystems and wildlife. But then, as I kind of predicted in my trailer video, visual spectacle is nothing new in movies today, and the more you see it in this film, the less impact it ends up having. Realistically, there's only so many spectacular shots of alien landscapes, underwater reefs, towering jungles and floating mountains that I can take before my brain becomes kind of numb to the whole thing. It's like being fed the world's largest chocolate cake morning, noon and night for an entire year. Eventually you're going to get kind of sick of it. The story of Jake and his struggle to protect his family is meant to be the glue that holds this movie together, and while it's definitely refreshing to see a modern film that champions the importance of the family unit instead of trying to deconstruct and destroy it, and which dares to portray fathers as brave protectors, wise teachers and strong leaders instead of useless, incompetent, effeminate cowards, it also doesn't really develop Jake all that much as a character. Basically, he starts the movie as a loving father willing to make tough choices to keep his family safe, and he ends the film in exactly the same way. Say what you want about the first movie, but Jake at least had a definable character arc in that story. Really though, the narrative focus is less on Jake and Neytiri and more on their children, and that creates its own set of problems. Because honestly, the teen drama stuff drags on for so long that the whole plot basically stops dead in the water for a good hour, to the point where I genuinely started to forget what was even supposed to be happening. It was like being locked in a sensory deprivation tank where all concept of time and space starts to melt away. The film's environmental messaging is commendable, I guess, but it's implemented about as subtly as the anti-colonial stuff from the first movie. Rather than the magical bullshit mineral from the first Avatar, the new magical bullshit material at the heart of this film is the brain fluid from the giant sea turtle whale things that the Na'vi love. And I'm not kidding, they really love them. Like, they stop and have chats with them about how their family lives are going and how their day's working out. And again, this movie portrays a ludicrous concept in such a serious way that it becomes unintentionally hilarious. But then, of course, the humans have to show up to ruin the party. They get brutally hunted with harpoons, and it's all shown in excruciating detail, and I found myself asking a simple question. Why? Like, I think we all pretty much agreed decades ago that whale hunting is awful and unnecessary and shouldn't be done anymore, and it just feels weird for this movie to make it such a thematic focal point. Also, there's not even the slightest attempt to portray the humans with any kind of nuance or subtlety. The fact that they're on Pandora to literally fight for the survival of their species opens up some interesting possibilities about the moral imperative behind their actions and whether or not they might have a valid reason for doing all of this. But hey, why waste time on complex, intriguing questions like that when you can have another hour of lovingly rendered blue teenagers swimming through glow-in-the-dark coral reefs? It's the same simplistic black and white morality as the first film. The humans, almost without exception, are portrayed as evil, destructive, greedy, militaristic, pollution-spewing monsters that spread like a cancer across the impossible natural beauty of Pandora, while the Na'vi are depicted in the most flattering possible light at all times. They're peaceful, harmonious, egalitarian, brave, noble, selfless, and completely in tune with the natural environment. It's basically the tired, noble savage trope ported over into blue aliens. Oh yeah, and then there's Spider. God, I hate this character. His entire presence in this movie makes absolutely zero sense. Like, why would you choose to live on an alien planet where the very air would kill you if you didn't have a magic respirator with infinite oxygen that never falls off, gets damaged, or stops functioning? Why does he talk like a Californian surfer bro? Why does his actor not have any actual acting ability? Why does he make an absolutely terrible decision at the end of the film that will almost certainly result in untold death and suffering for his adopted people? Don't know. All of this stuff smacks of a filmmaker that's been given a bit too much power and money for his own good. I mean, I can't fault the amount of care and work that Cameron's obviously put into the technical aspects of Avatar 2. I just wish he'd put that same level of thought into the story and characters, especially when he had 13 years to do it. And more than that, I wish someone had been around to make him do it. The more I think about this film, the more I'm reminded of the Star Wars prequels, where George Lucas had unlimited creative and financial freedom to indulge all his worst excesses as a filmmaker, and everyone around him was too afraid to call him out on it. Avatar 2 suffers from a similar problem. It's what happens when a filmmaker is given too much time, too much money, and too much freedom, and it all starts to go to his head. Ultimately, I struggle to decide whether or not to recommend this film to people. If it had been an hour shorter and maybe a bit smarter and more nuanced, it would have been a no-brainer for me. But as it stands, even though it's better than almost anything else put out by Disney this year, it's so long, so bloated, and so self-indulgent that I really don't know if it's worth your time and money. And if the early box office results are anything to go by, I might not be the only one. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that of the Critical Drinker's review of the movie. If he thought this one was long, wait till he hears about how long the third one will be. 9 hours. Jesus. And I'm a fan of Star Wars, so let's not bash the prequels too much. But don't forget, get a like, comment below, and then finally subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video, and share. Bye.